What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901, your number one Memphis Grizzlies post-game show, and it's not even close. Tonight we celebrate another win. The Grizzlies do win big again down in San Antonio. That's 11 straight there at their place. They end up winning 140-112, and so another good, dominant second-half performance. I don't know if anybody realizes this. The first game Wednesday night, they outscored them 78-52. Tonight, it was 78-45. It was a great kind of a run that they went on there in the second half, mainly in the third quarter, and then still a little bit there in the fourth quarter. But the Grizzlies just kind of pulled way out in that third quarter. And so Santi went off, a great game out of him. There's so much that we're going to get into tonight, but we're going to make this a little bit of a shorter show. So if you're normal us staying for an hour, I don't expect us to stay for an hour. It's already late here. It's 11 o'clock Central Time. Nate just flew across the country back home, and he just got in within the hour. And so he watched a lot of the game on ESPN. Wasn't able to hear it, but he was able to watch it. But he's going to be back here with us tonight. So what we're going to do is a full breakdown of the game, talk through the game, do all the ins and the outs. And after that, no Grizz trivia, no look ahead. The Grizzlies do take on the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday, but we're going to stay away from that tonight and kind of go to bed and maybe end the show just a tiny bit early. Listen, my girl's got a game in the morning. I got to get up and get ready to coach that. So we're going to do all that. But make sure you kind of hit the like button when you're here. If you're watching over on Twitter, join us on YouTube. But if you're going to stay over there, go ahead and hit the like and the share if you don't mind. But that's all we got. Let's go ahead and start the show. Yo, we're back to the crystal ball. Why do we have the crystal ball? I thought that was a bad thing.
No, it's just it's a comfort thing. I got this and I got this, and I think our guy Greer Gentry is going to need it tonight, if I had to guess, because look like the things really went well for the Grizzlies tonight. In spite of something or another.
We're going there already. Boy.
Listen, it's all fun and games. It's all family here. So yeah, we're gonna poke fun at Greer. He's part of the chat family. But listen, Grizzly popped off tonight. And, also, I just needed a stiff drink after
no doubt
the flight I was just on.
No doubt. Well, Grizz girl, listen, this is one of my favorite things. Yo. I literally say that so many times. Just randomly, like that is kind of what I do. So I like that. I'm a big fan of the yo. But Ray Shimbo was a huge blowout tonight. Just overall, the Grizzlies, just a big win, man. It looked really good, and so I know you were able to watch majority of it. I know there was bits and pieces where you had to miss because you were landing, but also having to get into the car with family and get back to Casa there. So. Your thoughts on the game, just off the top rope, what you got, man?
Well, I do want to ask, Edie got hurt? Seriously?
Yeah, he got hit in the nose pretty hard one time. I think it was on a rebound. You know how sometimes you're standing there for a rebound and then somebody leaves early and instead, you know how like you're supposed to turn, they're just like back up and then they turn and then you're you just wear it in your face. That's what happened to him. And it blew up. Like it was on his jersey and everything. So not exactly sure what happened, but I do know his nose blew up a little bit. So unsure why they wouldn't let him go back in. I know concussion issue last time, even though I said it wasn't concussion. But then he had issue with migraines is what the problem was. And so I'm curious if that might have been something instead of like the nose, it's the migraine. But in my opinion, if you have migraines, you might not come back out there. So who knows, man? Who knows? But yeah, he did get popped in the nose pretty good.
Getting hit in the nose hurts a lot. So jokes aside, I was like, it looks like he was doing well in his 7 minutes. So I didn't get to watch the very beginning of the game when he would have been playing. So I just want to get my jokes out for our buddy Greer, but I genuinely don't know how he did tonight. So I didn't get to watch any when he was playing.
Yeah.
So sounds like he did all right, but in general, man, where is it? There you go. There, I was the comment I was about to look for. As Drew says, the communist offense worked very well tonight. I thought that comment's hilarious.
Have you heard that before? He says that a lot on his show. He calls it the communist offense. It's just funny.
I know, it's amazing.
Love it.
But it did work really well. I mean, you put up 140. The Grizzlies did kind of come out a little bit flatter again, and they kind of like found their groove. But I think that's kind of normal for a team if you don't have a Ja Morant in the game and you're trying to figure out how are you going to get it tonight. But the good news is they did figure it out, which is hard to do when you just played this team 2 nights ago, by the way. Like, that's hard to come out and beat them by 28 on their home floor. So, good win. I think that's a really good win for the team, especially considering the injuries and everything that's going on there.
Santi played well tonight. I'm actually going to do something different. I haven't done this, and I think this might be a good thing that me and you, because I used to get a lot of the information from the Grizzlies just straight to me, and we haven't been able to do that this year because I guess we're not important enough. But I did get the box scores now, Nate. So I have box scores completely printed out. So if you want to do it, maybe we can figure out a way to make it a lot easier. But it'll make it easier than me having to look through my phone and I have to switch screens. It's but tonight, 29 points out of Santi, 10 of 19 overall, 5 of 12 from deep. The dude was just unconscious for a little bit and ended up throwing in with 8 rebounds as well. So I know a lot of talk's been on Santi. I think you have to look at it as this. Santi's not a superstar. Never will I ever say Santi's a superstar. Santi's not a $30 million guy. And I know that might sound a little crazy, not because he isn't worth it. I'm saying, like, to even say that it might be even a possibility for him to be a $30 million guy would be crazy. It's not as crazy because the money's going up, but I now could see him getting $20 million a year now. Like, he could be a guy that would be a good 4. The problem is like, can he be consistent enough? So, like, his highs are high. The problem is a lot of times he goes really low and kind of goes away and is incognito. So I think that we're going to kind of live in the moment, the high. We're going to live in that. But you also have to be understanding that the way he plays, he needs to kind of have a good matchup, right, to be able to flourish. Because if it is a physical matchup like we talked about last show, there's no way possible that he is very good for it. So on an expiring contract, Austin Moore says a good trade bait. I agree. He could be, but I think we're going to definitely need him this year because he's cheap just this year. And at that point, I don't know what you do next year, but they'll have to figure out something.
Yeah, unless you send him to Utah. Which should be the trade partner. Yeah, Santi's awesome.
I got a question before you get into Santi. Do you remember early in the season I said the person that would benefit the most would be Santi?
Yes.
I'm not saying I've been proven right. I think he's benefited the most for sure. But I saw that because of the way it free flows, and that's what he needs. But when it gets muddy in that second half or in the half court offense, that's not for him. It has to move around like it did in the third quarter. But Santi was incredible tonight.
Yeah, he's awesome. And that's when you have a guy who's a role player like that, that's what you want. You just need more guys who you can have step up more often than not. I think that when you say you want consistency from Santi, that's exactly where I was about to go with that, actually. Consistency is with a role player doesn't mean that you're dropping 20 every night. Something like that. It just means that you are filling the role, and if they pass you the ball in the corner, you can make the shot.
Yeah.
And he has made it pretty consistently all year long.
Yep.
And that's what you want, right? It's not 15 every night. It's you hit the 3 when it's there.
Yeah.
Now, if it happens to be 12 threes like he had tonight, then great. That's fantastic. But we don't have enough guys who can hit that shot consistently. You can trust them to do it. So
no doubt.
You want more of that. More and more and more.
No, we definitely do. You know what we want more of? I want to somehow get a Santi Aldama jersey. I want to throw it all the way back. I want to go to the navy one with the yellow, what do you call it? The alternate color, whatever it is. Anyway, the beautiful jersey. I think it's I have it. This is on my my Ja Morant bobblehead guy. See that jersey, whatever that thing
There we
is.
go.
There we go. That jersey. And I want to make sure we get it autographed. I want to send it overseas to Wayno. Like if I could get a wish this season, I would love to do that. So King Meeks, great idea. We'll figure it out. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to figure it out. Get it to Wayno just so he can make sure he hangs it up and sees it every day and think about.
You're going to be Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be Wayno will be our Make-A-Wish.
Wayno, send us something wrong with you.
Yeah. We need the written apology too. To send over for sure. But tonight overall, a good night. Just looking through a lot of these. Bane ended up going off 22 points, 14 assists. Dude, that is incredible. Like the fact that he was able to do that. Your thoughts on when they went with a Kennard Bane duo to start and run, honestly, the first unit. How did you feel before the game that made sense compared to in the past? You just put in Pippen.
Well, in all fairness, I was trying to get a plan off the ground, so I didn't really see that was happening before the game started. But I figured it out when I saw the first sub come in, what had happened, and it made me a little afraid, even though it had already happened. I was a little afraid about it in hindsight, just because neither one of those guys have worked very well as a primary facilitator. Yeah. Right? They've not worked as a primary ball handler, I should say, for the team. So a little bit freaky, but clearly it worked really well tonight. And Scotty clearly is at his best come off the second unit, unless you're playing some of the more like below average teams.
Right.
I'm saying, like, I'd say Spurs are like right at average. I wouldn't call them a below average team, even though I guess they're a couple games under 500.
Yeah.
But so I kind of get it. But listen, 14 assists, 3 turnovers. What more can you ask for? Especially out of a guy who is not built to be your primary ball handler. So was it a little freaky? Sure. But you understand it when, especially you're going up against a guy like Wemby, and you need to space the floor. You can't just let them go boxes and elbows where he can just step out one step any direction and disrupt a shot. So it made sense.
Yeah. I agree. And at first I saw that and I go, why? Like I get it, but I also wonder why. Because listen, every coach has something they try, especially when you don't have your best player. Okay. When Ja's out, you kind of think like, what direction do we go? Do we just go the same way? Like you put Pippen there and then you figure it out on the back end, or do you do something different? Tonight was something different. And listen, a lot of people hate on Taylor Jenkins, whatever. A lot of the stuff he does is stupid. There's some really good stuff that goes under the radar tonight. And I want to bring up 2 things. One, starting Luke was actually really smart. The more I saw it in action, it actually allowed Desmond Bane to not be a point guard, but it allowed Luke to be a point guard and a shooting guard, and Bane to be a point guard and a shooting guard. So they played off of each other like a dual point guard, right? But they also were able to be off ball. So I thought that was really smart against a team that's not going to get up in your area like Houston. Against Houston, it's probably not the best thing. But against San Antonio, you can get away with that. Yep. I thought that was genius. But also going and matching Santi Aldama to Victor Wembanyama. That was very smart because Santi has the length. He has enough grit within himself to kind of keep him off the boards and let him dominate as much as he wanted to. So I thought it was a great overall of how much he actually paired them up. And when you saw Wemby get up, Santi got up every single time after that. And that's who kind of started for Edie once he went out.
Yep. And for anybody who is about to say Santi doesn't have the length to guard Wemby, nobody has the length to guard Wemby, right? It's just matching as best as you can. So just so we get that out of the way. But on that Desmond Bane note, this is something, there's one thing that's just a classic. Always have to get to it when it applies. I'll get to it in a little bit. 7 turnovers for Memphis tonight. 7. Normally it's like 27.
Yeah.
As of late.
Bane had 3, and then Jaren 1, Luke 1, Jake 1, Santi 1. That's incredible.
That's it. Taking care of the ball does wonders for this team.
Yeah.
Wonders for this team.
Yep. And when they play good, they play good. But when they're able to take care of the ball, it's something that really kind of keeps them within themselves, right? So it's definitely good. But looking through this, I think that you can nitpick different things apart. But I want to ask you a question before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
There was 3 guys tonight had the highest plus minus. Who were those 3, Nate?
Santi, Des, Wells.
Wells was only a plus 12. Santi, and who'd you say?
Des and Wells.
So Des had the fourth best overall plus minus at plus 23. Santi he's tied for the best at 25.
I don't know. Jake and Brandon.
That is right. Jake and Brandon.
Okay.
It's crazy. And I know somebody was hating on BC earlier in here, and a lot of people always hate on Jake. We hate on Jake. But he was in on the run. And honestly, the limited minutes that BC was in, 18 minutes, he was a plus 25. He had 12 points, 3 rebounds. Like, he did stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's really all you can ask for, especially a team like San Antonio, that you can kind of get up in them a little bit. I think that he played good enough, right? Yeah. But he was in there when he was on that heater, when Santi was on that heater. So anybody that was with them on the court, because I know that was it Scottie Pippen Jr.? He was a plus 12, and he was during that big run. So I can't imagine what he was in the first half. I can't see the first half numbers, but he's only a plus 12, and he was with them on that almost the entire run, which is like probably a plus 16 or so. So either way, I thought it was a good night overall for all the guys.
Jake had a good Jake game for sure. Which good Jake games do a lot of the little things in contributing. That's not like a dig. That's bad Jake games are like a dog. This is like super hard to watch. Good Jake games are he's getting boards. He's doing a good job defensively. He's boxing guys out really well. Like, yeah, exactly. Just like Art's saying, doing the dirty work. And I even on the plain little ESPN plain screen I was watching it on, could see that. He was doing a really good job of just doing the fundamentals, working the boards, and playing pretty solid team defense on guys. Like when Devin Vassell was out, he had the job of trying to slow him down a little bit. I'm sorry, when Jalen Wells was out, Jake had the job of trying to defend Vassell a little bit. So yeah, did really good tonight, but I'm sort of with Austin here. He's like the perfect end of the bench guy is what I was gonna say. But listen, I think it's a really good win. Anytime you play a team and then 2 nights later you come back and play them again, it's super hard to win, especially on their home floor. And to do it in the fashion they did is very impressive. So I think it is truly like a really good win for them.
Yeah.
At the same time, like Jake against his higher up competition, I don't have any faith. And not just Jake, by the way. There's quite a few people on the roster I feel that about, but slow our roll a little bit on that while still saying he had a really good night.
Yeah. Being the 8 to the 12 player, I like him, man. He's fine. He's cheap. Jose's trying to see if we're seeing his chats. Yes, Jose, we see you.
No, we can't. You have to come to YouTube. We can't see you until you're on YouTube, Jose.
Come over to YouTube. We're at Bluff City Media. We're live with them right now. So just come over there and hang out with us. But yeah, the Grizzlies on that 16-0 run was unbelievable. The fact is, are you saying the same thing that Ja was yelling for them to call a timeout?
This is why Ja is playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. He taunted them about calling a timeout to the point that they wouldn't call a timeout.
Right. That's because that's what I was thinking. Yeah, we're over on Bluff City Media. Look, we got Jose coming over now. There's a lot of people over here, I promise.
Okay, Jose, we can see your comments now that you're starting to come to YouTube. Now they're showing up.
But it was funny though, and I was thinking as a coach because I'm coaching my girls, and I've coached every sport possible, but like in basketball, I love it. But the higher you go, right, you have to start developing and as their mental capacity of sports, right, they're learning what they can't do, and so you're able to do a little bit more, such as traps and ATOs and stuff like just different things, right? So I was thinking as a coach, what would I do? But I just swallow your pride and say, God, they got me, timeout. Like you just hit it. Or do you just say, you know what? Screw you, dude. And you just kind of keep going through it and you fight through it. But then it was 4 in a row. And the more demonstrative he got after every single just knockdown 3, I was just loving it every minute. And so it was great. Would you have called a timeout or would you just said,
Yes.
screw you?
Yes, you call a timeout. Look what happened when you didn't. They got 3 more buckets.
No doubt.
Yes, you call the timeout.
Yeah. It was great overall. I got a question about the Spurs real quick. Stephon Castle, he had a good game Wednesday night, another good game tonight. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I think he went. I'm looking for his 3-pointers. He only went 1 of 3 overall. 7-11 from the 4. Thoughts on Stephon Castle? I haven't seen a lot of him this year. I have been big on Devin Vassell, and I've been Keldon Johnson over the years, but honestly, Castle looked better than both of them tonight, personally.
Castle looks like he's gonna be really good in 2 years. You know what I mean? He's got all the tools, and you see it on certain nights, and you see it, especially in flashes of oh man, this kid, he's gonna be something special. But he's still figuring it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think it's tough because he's got Chris Paul there, which should conceivably help that. But I'm not sure that it does at this stage of Chris Paul's career. Who knows how much he wants to be a mentor or anything like that, even though he's done a really good job of it in the past. I know Grizzlies fans hate Chris Paul, but he's done a good job of playing hard no matter where he went and sort of seeming to do that the right way. So at the same time, their play styles are not going to be anything similar to each other. Right. So I don't know how that plays out, but super athletic, smart, super talented. Once he figures it out, like him and a Wemby combo, as long as he does figure it out, dangerous.
Yeah, I'm curious what and how what he's averaging on the year, because I see that also saying everybody has a career high against the Grizzlies. And listen, I understand we see that, and that's all we see is those games. He's averaging 11.4, 2 and 3, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. But against the Grizzlies the last 2 nights, he had a game of 20 and 26. Game for that 23. So I don't know if he's heating up now at the right time, but he against the Lakers he put up at 23 in a win. So I don't know, but I do like his game, and he's played the last 2 nights against the Grizzlies better than honestly Vassell and Thompson, who a lot of everybody likes.
Part of what you also have to realize is some of this is by design. Like if I told you, hey, you're playing the Spurs, what are you going to do to make sure they don't beat you? You say, make sure Wembanyama doesn't beat me.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the last game stats. I didn't get to watch that as closely, but tonight they held him to, 19 points, I think. Yep. 19 on 42% from the field.
Who's that?
Wemby.
Oh, yeah. He did not play good at all.
Yeah, well, but it's because the Grizzlies made a point of you are not going to beat us, especially inside the arc. We're just not going to let it happen. When you do that, other guys get open shots. And then, last game, 5 for 19 from the field, 13 points. So I know sometimes we're like, oh, my God, like the Kevon Looneys of the world and the Otto Porter Juniors of the world are the ones who buried us in the playoffs and stuff. But when you're playing against teams like the Spurs, it's like, hey, like we will let Stephon Castle beat us. We're not going to let Wemby beat us. So some of it's by design.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's You can't let him beat you, but you also can't give up, butt naked threes, which I don't think they did for a lot tonight, just overall. But there were some that were just wide open. But that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen a lot. But all right, so we had Jose over there, Twitter. I'm not sure if this is Jose or you followed Jose over here, but Sabino, welcome. I'm not sure you had by Twitter burner. Okay, on the Twitter burner, I like it.
There we go. Like, that's not your name. Deceiver. Welcome to the chat.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to last guy I want to ask a question about Charles Bassey. Dude, why does he play so good against us? Like, I don't get it. Like the last game, he did the same stuff. Like, dude is just like a monster playing against us.
So we don't have, especially if Edie's not playing, we don't have that. We don't have anybody to do that. That's like, yeah. What are you gonna do? Like, put J Huff in there? Like, I love J Huff, but that is not the style for him.
No. Nobody box outs on our team. I promise you, nobody on our team box out. Like, nobody. Who?
Jake tries.
Yeah, kind of, but like they don't box out. They're standing in an area, just kind of like hanging out, making sure. All right, we good? Everybody good? Cool. The ball's about to fall down, and then everybody I go get it. And sometimes they attack it, but for the most part, it is they're just boxing air. They're just boxing a position, which is fine as long as if somebody's there, you don't let them get around you. Which usually, if they're there, they're getting around us. So that's half the issue, but either way. But thoughts on the back-to-back win? I know you hit on it a second ago. Usually you have a home and away, right? So you go to there and they come back to you, or vice versa. We're seeing more of these home and homes. I don't know why. I think it's so you can go there. Then you get to stay in the city you're in. It's kind of like a home game, but you're on the road, so there's not travel involved in it. But it does seem like it would be much harder, but they did get the double dip. So do you feel better now after losing to that Houston game and then a good response, right? Turn around. You get the win in Minnesota. You go and lay an egg, right, against Houston. Don't match up well against Houston. But now I double dip against the Spurs, a Western Conference opponent. Do you feel better about the Grizzlies or about the same?
I mean, you can't help but feel a little bit better after 2 wins, but the concerns are still there. I will say, after I was able to calm down and I watched Jalen Green come back to earth against the Kings last night. Yeah, Rockets played the Kings last night. I was like, oh, if we got this Jalen Green, who was still playing really well, but I was like, if you got this Jalen Green against the Grizzlies, the second game, the Grizzlies win that game. So I was like, okay, I calmed down a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, even though the Rockets are ahead of the Grizzlies right now and obviously been playing really good basketball, they're not the team you're trying to beat, right? You're trying to beat the Thunders, Cavs, Celtics of the world. Like, you're trying to beat the top. You still don't have the guys to do that.
Yeah.
You need more, and you need to call Utah. Like, let the Cam Johnson bidding war be a thing, and then go call Utah.
We're gonna get into a lot of trade stuff, I would assume, and because the trade deadline. When is the trade deadline?
It's February 6th, I believe. 6th? I think that's right.
NBA trade deadline. I have some questions in the chat that I'm gonna get to, but February 6th at 2:00 Central. Why? That's important, I guess. I think I'm out of town that week. I believe I'm actually out of town that day. I'm not sure, but anyway, don't come to my house. There'll be bad people here with guns.
I won't. Don't worry, brother.
I do have a question. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to this. Will we be live after the MLK game? I don't know. We haven't talked about it.
We haven't, but I hope so.
It's a Monday. It's a Monday, so it's a 1:30. It's a 1:30 start for me, 12:30 start for you. So that puts us at about 4:00 my time, 3:00 your time. Nate, what say you?
Possibly.
That's where I am. I'm on the possibly thing as well. I think I have a better opportunity to do it than you. So, but we'll see. But either way,
yeah.
I think I'm available to be on the show. So even if for some reason Nate can't be on, I'll bring on somebody else. I'll find somebody walking around here with BCM that can help us out. I know Drew, we'll figure out with Drew. He's got something going on. Drew will do it. I think actually Drew's going to be at the game, so I don't think he actually could. But we'll find somebody if Nate for some reason can't because it's during the day. But it is an early game.
There's a significant chance that I just can't. So we'll see.
All right. So question. This is from Wayne. It was very early in the show. Did we try and fix something that wasn't broken? Which is, I guess he's talking about the offense. We built our second seasons off defense. Now we just run and gun. Do you think that was a bad decision to make the change? The Grizzlies are the highest scoring team in the league. They are having issues. Turnovers are a problem. Do you think it was a bad decision?
No. I think if you can true. I think if you can take care of the basketball, you're still playing good defense. Team has still played like they hit a bit of a rough patch, but I think it's just a lack of focus because you're playing basketball in January and you're in the smack middle of the season more than anything. You saw at the beginning of the year, and then you see them tighten the screws late in these games too when they want to. Right? They can turn that defense on, take turnovers, letting teams get these fast break points off turnovers. That's what's killed you more than anything. Yeah. So I don't think the defense is bad. I think that your offense, when you're letting teams just get basically free buckets, makes your defense look bad.
Yeah.
So I think the run and gun needs to be tempered, right, with discipline, making smart decisions, making sure you emphasize your best players, right, Jaren, Ja, and Dez. But I don't think they have sacrificed defense. If it did sacrifice defense, I would have more of an issue with it. But I don't think the defensive sacrifice is nearly as steep as it looks because the turnovers are what is the real issue.
Yeah, turnovers are the biggest issue, which tonight, when you don't have them, you can kind of, for the most part, you're taking a shot, okay, and they're either getting it out of their net or they're running. The flow of the game can be helped by not having as much turnovers, but also, there's a couple things that you need to kind of work in your favor is don't turn the ball over as much. You don't want it to be slowed down by a bunch of fouls, right? Which obviously if they're fouling you, that's different, but you can't be fouling them because it just slows everything down. And so there has to be a way. But what I saw tonight is, I don't know if y'all, kind of caught it, but I know a lot of times Ja was like always doing like this, like kind of like, and I think he was, which I would assume, get it and go, like get it a little faster, let's speed it up a little bit. And I saw that third quarter when we started getting the ball out a little bit more and kind of just everybody was flying around on the offense, that they ran it so much better because there was movement consistently. And when they're moving, that pace, and then you get the space, and then you get the transition, and then you get steals, and then you get some heavy legs for the other team because they're not used to that. The Grizzlies, I think I heard a stat the other day, the Grizzlies run 2 miles more than than other teams, like when they're in their games. And so it's just because they're playing so much faster, they're getting the ball up and down the floor. And so it's an offense that can work. I want to see it in the playoffs work before I really just kind of comment completely. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Anything else you want to hit on? We're not going to do. Oh, here it is. 2.4 miles per Zach Cram of the Ringer.
Cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur. By the way, anytime I watch a Packers game and the Packers lose, I like to say that.
No doubt.
One pride.
Yeah, and this is kind of where I've been too, Wayne. The new offense is going to have to beat the middle of the pack teams, right? But not against the top tier teams, which would be the playoff teams. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm curious if it works. And right here, we do have Rage Simpo. Shout out to you, buddy, because I know you've been here a lot as well. But Gigi Jackson coming back 100%.
Excited for that.
I think it's Monday. I would assume Monday at this point. He has
probably,
let's say Friday, because he played a back-to-back. He played much better. I think he ended up with 29 points on Thursday night. And then, so at that point, you're looking at Friday, Saturday, Sunday to really get your body acquainted enough. We know he's not going to play a lot of minutes. Okay. Everybody knows that. So at that point, you're going to play your 16 minutes. They're going to be a fast 16, and he's going to need quick burst. So he's going to need 4 to 5 and out, 4 to 5 and out. Like he doesn't need to be 7 or 8 minutes spurts. And so we'll see overall. But everybody's talking about the trades, man. I like it. I'm trying to read through them, but I can't talk and read. I'm not quite that smart, so I'm trying to work through them.
My brain doesn't work right now. So, yeah, we'll talk trades. Trust me, we love talking about these trades, but it's not
surreal. Yeah, he bought out MLK Day, and that's when he had the big interview with Shaq, the big the GIF. Yeah, but I have a question. Hold on, before I move on, my last question. Do you have anything else you want to hit on this game? Anything overall? Because we're gonna make it a shorter show. We're almost at the 40-minute mark, so we're gonna wrap it up in about a couple minutes. But I don't have anything else. Grizzlies ended up winning 140 to 112. Ran off in the third quarter. Looked great. I think it's good momentum because now Saturday, day of rest, Sunday, day of rest, and then you play Monday. It's an afternoon game. So you're still getting a full 48 hours just overall. But I want to ask, Mark is not happy with Zach Kleiman tonight. Not happy. But I kind of agree not to fire him. I don't care to fire people. Let's just figure it out. But there definitely needs to be some different realignment with the team, just overall. But with that being said, speaking of realignment, there was somebody that put up that the Dallas Mavericks were talking about, or they're not secretly, maybe just quietly shopping around Daniel Gafford. Would you want Daniel Gafford for this team? Did you see my interaction on the Twitter?
I did not. No, I did not see that.
There's some fellow who I've never really been a fan of, and I was just kind of making conversation. But anyway, I said Marcus would look really good in a Mavs jersey. And would you be interested? And it doesn't work straight up. Would you be interested in sending out Marcus Smart to bring back Daniel Gafford?
Yes, if you could make the other trades work.
What are the other trades?
Go get John Collins / ideally John Collins and Colin Sexton.
Okay, so
yes.
All right, so this is a deeper question. An Astronomo, bro. I said the same thing and I felt bad about it.
Yeah.
I feel you. I would feel bad about that one. But so you're saying that, okay, I want to keep these individual. Nothing else happens. Are you good with going and getting Daniel Gafford, but nothing else ends up happening? Not because of that, but nothing ends up happening. Are you still okay with just that for sending? If you had to send out Marcus Smart for that? Because that's your $20 million guy. And the reason I say that is you're going to have to bring back something else. And that's what the Grizzlies can't do right now. They can't bring back two guys.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. I like the move in general, but it's like you're saying, that's a contract that you need to be able to use.
But and that's the issue. Now, if we can have some conversations, we can figure out a way to get to that part. But the problem is like they want a defending wing. Do they like Jake LaRavia? Then great. But I don't think that's going to do it. I think the only guy that works for is, but as Wayno's saying, Gafford and Exum, I don't know.
I like Gafford for the team. I really like Gafford for the team.
Yeah.
So I like it. It's just, how do you make it work? And he's not enough. Right? Really? He's not enough to push this team over the top. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just not enough. It's not. I think he absolutely could contribute to this team and help them win. Just not enough to push them over the top.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, and that's kind of where I wanted to find out, kind of where you stood, and that's where I would make that trade. The problem is I don't know who you get back. The Grizzlies need somebody to be a starting center for this team, and not because I don't like Edie, not because I don't like J Huff, not because I don't like BC. I just think if you really want to go get and you want to be a solid team, you have to have a starting center that you trust.
Yep.
I don't think they don't trust Edie right now. You have to find the best matchup. And in a series, do you lose a game or two to try something different? Like literally that one time when Steve-O was playing and they went with BC, like that made the biggest difference, and that's why the Grizzlies end up beating the Timberwolves. But you got to find out those matchups. How does that make sense? And so I'm curious, just overall. But I really do like Daniel Gafford for this team. I wanted him when he was in Washington, and they got him down in Dallas. And so, we'll see. But
hey, I don't understand the Colin Sexton hate in the comments. Everyone's so against Colin Sexton, and I'm just like, okay, imagine instead of Scottie Pippen Jr., Colin Sexton came in the game off the bench. Yeah. Imagine, because they are playing next to each other, instead of playing Ja next to Scottie Pippen Jr., you're playing Ja next to Colin Sexton. Like, I don't understand, like, what's the bad there? The contract? Not my money.
If it works, it works.
If it works, it works. I don't understand the hate there. Colin Sexton would be awesome for any team.
All right. Art's saying Bruce Brown better than Colin Sexton. One, there's two things I hear. First one, Bruce Brown is on an expiring contract, I do believe. Okay, so at that point, whatever you're trading up, you're getting a half a season. That's it. The other thing is I am on record saying if the Grizzlies bring in Bruce Brown, I will wear a cowboy hat and a bolo tie every post-game show if they were to go get him and bring him in, because I don't think that's going to happen. So I would then have to wear a cowboy hat and a bolo tie on every show. I don't want to do that. So no, we're not doing Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown isn't coming to the Grizzlies.
I do like Bruce Brown. Like, I'm not against Bruce Brown.
I'm not either.
Yeah, but I'm not against that. But yeah, and Sexton was coming off the bench for the effing Jazz, dude. Like, he wasn't starting the entire time he's been there. He was coming off the bench and now has become a starter since he's been there.
Yeah.
But, and me and Austin actually been agreeing most of the night. But when you say, stupid StreamYard.
I hit move so fast.
Just not a need. I'm like, I would very much so beg to differ. Like, when you get into the playoffs, you need that bench scorer. Like, you need that 6-man type scorer. And for everyone who doesn't like Sexton, you also hate Santi. So I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want. I'm just trying to win a championship. My fault.
Yeah. Erwin, bro. You gotta chill. Listen, there are limits.
The emoticon.
You can't push all the emojis. All right. Next time.
And he did.
Next time, you get 5. That's it. No more than 5. Okay. I'm gonna take it down. I'm not even gonna talk about Brandon Ingram. You need to come here. Only using 5 max per message. But I don't know exactly what we're going to do. But either way, I think the Grizzlies are in a good spot. And Lauren's logging off. So are we, Lauren. So are we. But, yeah, I think that they're in a good spot. They have a good opportunity ahead of themselves. There's a lot of people they could go get. Who's going to sell? And I think that's the biggest thing. In my opinion, because in the spot that they are in moving forward, I don't want them to go out unless it's trade deadline day and you have to and you want to make a move that might be, a needle mover. There's no reason to bring back somebody that's just on a rental. You have Santi that you could pay in the offseason. That if you send him out, you're probably not going to get him back. So if you do keep him throughout the year, then you might have a chance to go ahead and sign him during the offseason for whatever that money looks like. I don't know. I think he is a big player on this team, but I'm just curious what happens with them. I'm going to look through a lot of these contracts and see kind of what we're doing because I think there are some guys out there that might be gettable. So I'm going to do some homework. and see if we can get back to you and see if we can get some good names as we get closer to the trade deadline.
Colin Sexton. Sorry. I just had to be petty. Bring me crazy people. Bring me crazy people. We need more of them on this team.
As Chuck Vines says it so eloquently, 67 and 15, still live for the 901. What are you laughing at?
The way you said eloquently was not very eloquent.
I had a hiccup. I was like, eloquently.
Great timing.
Yeah, it was bad. Anyway, that's all we got tonight. Thank you all for hanging out with us. There is no Grizz trivia. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do. We had a long enough show just breaking down the game and having fun like that. So maybe that'd be more of what we do. I honestly had more fun, but we need to have some palate cleanser sometime. So we'll kind of keep it in our back pocket.
Whiskey.
For sure. For sure. That's all we got. Nate, you got anything before we get out?
No. No. The answer's no.
All right. I'm going to cut you off as things get crazy, but that's all we got tonight. We'll have a show. I know Lauren just probably already logged off. We'll have a show Monday, one way or another. We'll do something around here for everybody. It is a big game. It is MLK Day. If you're off work in Memphis, enjoy yourself. Hang out. Do something good. And that way you really do enjoy the day and make it a better place. But that's all we got tonight. Thank you all for joining us. It is a late night, so we're close to midnight, so we're going to get out of here. But we'll see you all Monday night. Have a great weekend. Be nice and tell your friends.